let's get in the FY25 business outlook and the visibility going forward. Suresh Sethi, the MD and CEO, joins us on the show right now. Suresh, great to have you on ET now. Firstly, I wanted to understand how is it that you're looking at NPS shaping up, especially for the new generation, and what is your own advice to them?
So I think NPS, as you see, is a great product. We always talk about retirement planning. If we look at the young generation in the country today, there is longevity. People are having a longer life expectancy. There's a lot of entrepreneurial spirit, and naturally people are also looking at a work-life balance. So NPS becomes an excellent instrument, not just for retirement planning, but as a social security net. So even if you are planning to at some stage do something on your own, whatever money you put aside and put it in a scheme like NPS, it makes a lot of sense. So I think NPS is very relevant for our current times. The ability to beat inflation, the tax benefits that you get along with it, the low cost of investing in NPS, some of these things stand out. And I think the way NPS is today structured, it is also very aligned to the new generation from a digital perspective. Your ability to digitally open accounts, your ability to put standard instructions for investment, ability to use multiple channels for investment. I think these are some of the things which are very well aligned with today's generation who are very digitally savvy. And that is where we are putting our thrust to make sure that people have the frictionless journey to come into NPS. But equally important is the awareness about where the money is going in a very structured and controlled manner. That is what is important, and I think NPS Zaruri hai, as we all say, to that extent.
How do you look at NPS Vatsalya and how much you will benefit as a company because of it?
So NPS Vatsalya is a fabulous initiative because when you're talking about retirement planning, and as I mentioned, this is about building a social security net. The earlier you start the journey, the better. We've all heard about the power of compounding. So here you are giving a brilliant opportunity. You are virtually saying a child is born, you plan for their future. So NPS Vatsalya plays out very well over there. And as an organization, as a central record keeping agency for the pension ecosystem, we definitely see it as a huge opportunity because this opens up a completely new market. In our country today, when we look at the demographic quotient, there are 40 crore minors. So there's a huge new market out there. But as Indians, we are naturally very, very careful about our children's future and saving for their future. This becomes an excellent instrument to provide for long-term planning and investing in a very secure and trusted manner, because NPS does give you that security layer. Being regulated by PFRDA, your ability to go into equity in a very, very structured manner comes through very well with NPS Vatsalya also.
So what is your view on the overall digital public infrastructure and how it is shaping up?
I think clearly India has been a poster child of now building digital public infrastructure across multiple sectors. As you know, our journey started with Aadhaar, and I would say even go back earlier. What we do as a company, we started our journey by enabling digital public infrastructure for taxation and pension. And I think that has now manifested in multiple sectors. A national identity, a foundational DPI was very critical in building the pyramid from there. We have moved on to payments, we moved on to data as a digital public infrastructure. But the interventions we see now are definitely having far-reaching impact. We are now seeing digital public infrastructure being created in sectors as diverse as agriculture, health, education and skilling, and multiple areas where what you are really doing is the government is taking a layered approach. So a central infrastructure is getting created which allow people to consume services in a frictionless, efficient manner. So there's equitable distribution of services on top of these digital rails. Now the digital rails are today being created by central entities, by the government. And what we are enabling by creating an open architecture or open standards on this digital infrastructure is for the ability to have the private and the public sector work together to build the application layer where you are actually providing the ability for consumers or the corporates to consume these services.
Right. So you're also expanding your digital footprint into new domains like education, health, agriculture, etc. Tell us what exactly is the plan going forward?
So we are currently, see, our journey started in what I term as the new age framework of digital public infrastructure, with the layered approach and building it on open standards and open rails, ensuring interoperability. So our journey started with ONDC. Even before it came in its current avatar, the first intervention was done to enable transport and mobility on an open network, which is disintermediation of the entire transport mobility sector. And then it moved on to enable the entire digital commerce layer, where you're today allowing creation of a digital public infrastructure for discovery and connecting the buyers and the sellers. These could be buyer and seller applications. You're talking about multiple applications being able to discover each other, and today we are powering the ONDC network, as you are aware about it, the online network for digital commerce, which is today supporting transport and mobility, it is supporting digital commerce, and it is supporting open finance. Similarly, the company has again invested in building the open gateways and registries. So we build the gateway architecture, which is for discovery, and the registry architecture, where you put the directory of the service providers and the service seekers.
Okay. So for growth, one important thing is technology and other is products going forward. Both of this will be playing an important role in your growth going forward. What kind of products and technology upgradation does the company intend to do this year?
So see, the focus, if you say, is at two levels. So one is the place where we play the role in contributing to the digital public infrastructure, which is laying out the digital rails. And as I mentioned, a lot of work being done over there is on open source standards and technology. And it is naturally going to be interoperable because you're going to support the entire ecosystem on top of it. So that is one area in which we've invested. We have, specialists and full stack engineers who are conversant with open source technology, and also in emerging technologies like AI and blockchain. And that is what we are building the multiple stacks in multiple sectors on. Now, a lot of this technology is fungible because the fundamental principles remain the same. They are principles enabling discovery, trust, exchange of information, consent embedment into the entire exchange of data and data information. So that is one stack of technology which we have, which we play across multiple sectors. The other area becomes the app layer. By app layer, I mean creating the interfaces for you and me, or for a corporate to consume services. It could be a health tech, it could be a reg tech, it could be a agri tech, and that is where we are building multiple applications. And we again have created a host of products which we even launched during the course of this year, and we clearly see those enabling us going forward. So we've done a lot of work on, we do a lot of work today on digital identity at a foundational level, where we are looking at the foundational DPIs being rolled out. But on top of it, we built a very strong app layer. We've today got API marketplaces, which are today providing ability not just for provisioning of digital identity and enabling digital onboarding journeys, but there are APIs enabling ONDC, digital commerce, agri stack. So all these things are coming together on an agri marketplace on which you can build journey and consume services.
Right. Lastly, your company was planning to enter new geographies as well, especially the international markets, as the government of India has now enlisted Protean under its development partnership frameworks to promote the capability, globally. Help us understand what exactly is the plan here.
Yeah, so sure, Varun, we are looking at that very closely because that becomes a natural adjacency and area of strength for us. Because today, in the country, we are contributing into building digital public infrastructure. So there are a lot of countries today which are at a stage where maybe India was 10, 15 years ago, where they are looking at national identity projects, they are looking at projects around taxation, social security, even agri and health. So we have today segmented the market. We are very closely focused on Southeast Asia and Africa. We are dealing with multiple countries, more than 14, 15 countries where we are actively engaged. And a lot of work is happening in the space of these core DPIs, where we are engaged with governments for providing more information around what can be done and what use cases can be built on the core DPIs. And then likewise looking at seeing how we can take the journey all the way to become an implementation partner and create and implement the right technologies for enabling that. So yes, international remains a very, very big focus areas for us. And we clearly see a lot of opportunities in the way the developing world is looking at India as a role model, or you can say as a good deployer of DPI. And we've seen that even at a government level, there is a lot of focus on saying how India can take a leadership role for the global south, enabling digital public infrastructure across multiple countries.
Right. Great to have you today on ET Now. Thank you so much for taking the time out, Mr. Sethi, and joining us today.
There comes a time when your heart calls for you to arise. Plant your feet solid into the ground. Decide your own limits. And then break right through them. Become something more. It's my time to rise.